Good evening and welcome to another episode of the Power Half Hour Unstoppable Business Owner. And I'm your host, Dorothy Odell, for this evening. I am super excited to bring to the stage Miss Angel. Welcome to the show.
Hi, so good to see you again.
Good. Yes, it's amazing to see you. I met this lady, oh gosh, I don't know how long ago. It's not that long, but it's like we're best friends already. So
Absolutely.
So Angel, tell our viewers a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm from Illinois. I came from a little town called Oak Brook. A lot of people in the Chicago area know it's kind of a business community. My father owned a company, and I ended up working with him. My mom was a nurse. I went to Marquette Manor Academy and then on to Bob Jones University and the Conservatory of Music. So my education's in music, but I used a lot of my business acumen to get in the business world and then kind of work my way through the different ranks of just special projects and consumer advocacy and blah, 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 and all that good stuff. And then I ended up eventually starting my own company. I have two, actually. I have Angelic Productions, which I've had since I was my early 20s. I do voiceover and I'm a singer and an opera performer, and I do pickup projects here or there. And then I also own Ink Tank, which is a company consultant for small business. And years I've been working with sports. And SportsFaith is a faith-based online magazine. We do podcasts, we have different interviews, and then we also do service projects. And then more recently, I started working with Player Support Services out of UK and Manchester, England, where we are actually helping players around the world, help them transition from their professional sports life into whatever it is that their next chapter is.
That's exciting. Like, that would be really rewarding, I would think. I mean, not that anything that you've done isn't rewarding, but I think that would, I don't know. If you look in the news, the big headliner for the last 6 months has been Tom Brady due to his divorce, right? And now his transition, well, is he going to retire or isn't he going to retire, right? That's the big $1 million question. And, having those guys transition, because that's basically all they know. The last year we've been dealing with military, and then once they leave, it's that huge transition from military life to civilian life. So it would be the same thing with the player, like a professional player, right? Because they have that regiment and stuff like that, and they go from that to, okay, now what? So that would be exciting.
Well, it's interesting because I had learned my late husband, I've been a widow for 13 years, but my late husband was a football coach. So I saw one side of it. My boys played, and my oldest one, by the way, Dorothy, still plays for the Army. He just had a game this week, as a matter of fact. So my kids are still involved in sports on a different level. But as far as the transition, you're used to being in a uniform doing one thing, and you have a set regiment, and just like a police officer, or you mentioned a soldier, or somebody who has a uniform every day, and then you take it off and you go, who am I? And I've learned a lot of these people, men and women, but specifically men. I think men are a little bit more, they need a little more help. Let's put it that way. I don't mean to diss men at all. I love men, but I think a lot of them have been used to certain ways. And when they have to stop, to transition can be really difficult, because if they've not been planning it, and you start off at 15 being handled by professionals, whether it's from, the college agents and then eventually on to NFL or wherever you've been, placed in your sport, a lot of times you don't know where to go because you've been in the sport for so long. So imagine poor Tom, and I do love him. I think he's a great player. But again, he probably has a lot of the emotional things that would be stopping me at 15 or 16 because people have been handling it for him. And so we understand that we're not being unkind at all. We want to be able to help him step into some of those things. He's probably never balanced a checkbook, more than likely never went to a closing for a house or bought a car. Maybe, but maybe most likely not, because he had handlers. So it's different. It's a different life.
So I have to say, when Ben Roethlisberger reaches out to you guys, I definitely need to meet that guy,
because he's my best.
He's my all-time favorite. And so, of course, I get to when we went to the Hall of Fame this past summer for just to go look through that. I got pictures of all his stuff. So, that's one guy I really would love to interview.
Well, I'm going to
Just
be
putting it out there.
putting it out there and maybe actually coming. I will be, first of all, at the Combine in Indianapolis in a few weeks after the Super Bowl. We're going to the Super Bowl first, which by the way, you're coming with me. Look excited about that. We have a studio called Talking Stick Studio. It's at Bellbank Park, which is a huge 325-acre sports park with everything but ice and water. Then we're going to be going to the Combine, which is going to be held in Indianapolis, and that's the end of February. And then this is what I'm inviting to you. So on the air, you can mark it down your calendar. The weekend before Father's Day, we are going to be having a Fatherhood Festival at the Hall of Fame. I've been invited by Justin Batt to bring some of my team players along who want to be able to add more opportunities. And I was a vendor last year, got to meet some amazing people. Well, I've known Mike Singletary for many years. I got to meet him again. We got to see Kurt Warner only on the screen, but he actually played the movie on, which is, I recommend to everybody, by the way, which is American Underdog. And then we had Dave Tyree. We had Anthony Muniz. It was, like I said, it was just a huge Hall of Fame who's who. And then we had vendors out there from all different walks of life sharing a little bit of their opportunities. And SportsFaith got to be a part of that.
Awesome. I love all of that. So with SportsFaith, can you tell us a little bit about what they do?
Okay, so Matt Kowalczyk founded it about 20 years ago. It was a radio show, actually. And so he was on the radio. And if any of your listeners out there know Sports Spectrum, that's been around quite a bit longer, probably about 30 years. And I used to know one of the key players of that, which was Chuck Swirsky. He was a Chicago broadcaster from WGN. If anybody out there knows who he is, great man. He went to my church and he said, "Hey, Angel, if your boys who are just starting football, if they want to listen to a great show, listen to Sports Spectrum." He says, "Not just because I'm on there, but I have different players. I'm sharing different stories of faith, different struggles, and like yourself, overcomers, coming back and forth, figuring out exactly who you are and how God fits in that picture." So SportsFaith has kind of picked up that ball. We've had a lot of different things that we've done, literally picked up the ball sometimes. We actually even have a duathlon. If you don't know what that is, it's basically a triathlon without the water. We have one every year in Green Bay, Wisconsin, along the beautiful Bay Shore there. And it's a 2-mile ride, a 19-mile bike ride, and 2-mile ride. And you can split it up in threes. So you can have 3 participants. And we raise money for different causes in the area. But a lot of the things that we do are just wherever God puts us. So SportsFaith is really an open door to have a conversation with anyone about God. So someone who may never go to a church or to any type of religious organization, they might sit down and talk to you about your faith on a baseball bench or go play tennis or on the golf course. And a lot of great things happen.
That sounds amazing too. My goodness, you're just into a lot of different things. And by us being friends, she's going to get me into a lot of different things. I can tell right now.
Dragging you along, girl.
It's funny. I've already told my husband and my stepson about the Hall of Fame as well. And they're like, my son's like, "Can we go?" I'm
Absolutely.
"Yes, but you have to behave."
Well, it's fun because that's the type of thing. Again, we have a lot. It's really to help dads be intentional. And being a widow and having to play a very bad role of a dad, I played mom, but having 3 boys and all in sports, it was very difficult for me to try to navigate them through the waters of being, a dad, and you can't do that. So those who can, I applaud these guys. Justin Batt, if you want to look up a great guy, look online. Justin Batt's both on LinkedIn. He is the founder of Daddy Saturday, which is a really cool program. It's a book, but it's also a program where dads can take that Saturday and just own it with their kids, especially those who work. And it doesn't have to be just Saturday. There's a couple of obviously people out there who are working Saturdays or whatever, but the day you're off, when you have a day off, take it and be an intentional dad. And I love that term, being intentional dad. And along the way, I've met George Jones, who was a former, 49er, and he was somebody else who has decided, I am going to be a dad. I'm stepping up to the plate. I want to do this. And so if you have any questions, you can always check out some of our programs, but you can, I'm putting my email out there, angel@sportsfaith.com. Ask me questions. I'll be happy to answer them.
Love that. Actually, all of Angel's information is in the show notes, but I will definitely put her email up there again. And you also had given sportsfaith.com for them to listen
Yes,
to the
yes,
podcast,
correct.
and player-support.com as well, I believe.
Correct. Yes. If you know of anybody, and by the way, player support, we're actually looking for vendors out there who can fill almost any need of a player. So imagine rebuilding a person, taking somebody from an unemployed status to try to figure out exactly who they are. We are looking for physicians, we're looking for physical therapists, lawyers, we're looking for accountants, both here and overseas. So if you know anybody who'd like to, please flood my inbox with any referrals. Also, I'm on LinkedIn as well. And I've actually, Dorothy, I got over 2,000 this week. I was so excited. And that's in 2 years because of SportsFaith.
Right.
It's just been so great. And these are intentional contacts. So if you contact me, I'll contact you back. I love to do phone interviews with you. If you're looking to refer people to us, if you don't know someone, let's have a conversation.
Absolutely. I love that. Cool, cool. So yeah, both I wanted to get on and listen to some of the podcasts from Sports Faith. Um, I just I there was a slight problem of me getting on, so Angel knows about that. They're going to look into that. But definitely want to listen in on that. Or maybe it was my phone. Maybe it's me, the user, because I'm not really technically challenged.
No,
Um,
neither am I. That's my team's. I'll put that on the center of the trail for that. But I will tell you, we have some great people. Now, as you know, Dorothy, I am a Chicago Bears girl, and my office is not too far from Lambeau Field, and it's very hard for me to drive by that. Although it's a gorgeous field. If you ever wanted, I don't care if you're a Green Bay Packer fan or not, it is so gorgeous, and people in Green Bay are wonderful. I have fallen in love with Wisconsin. It's just been one of my favorite cities.
Well, I'm going to have to go there because I have a girlfriend that's in Wisconsin,
Oh,
Columbus, Wisconsin. So we're going to have to do several trips this year. Go out there, see you, and see my friend Jen, who, by the way, it's her birthday today. So shout out to Jen
happy
Zahari.
birthday. Happy
Yes,
birthday.
happy birthday. And she's going to kill me for that later, but I don't care. Anyways, she is a Green Bay fan. So
Okay. Well, there's a store that she has to go to. If you guys, or when you go there, I've never seen a larger fan base store in my life. I even have little plastic containers of Green Bay Packers on there and good quality. There's grills, there are tire covers, you name it, they have it in their fan store, and it's really cool.
well, in honor of football today, I did wear my Pittsburgh. I
All
did wear
right,
my
go
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh.
And it's funny you said that because we found all the discounted shops in Pittsburgh while we were there, and I fell in love. And like, if I would have had like unlimited amount of money, I would have come home with a lot more. But I did buy the sweater.
Well,
Uh,
sparkly, I like that.
yes, it was actually, and you know what? And my mom's like, I love that. I would have never pictured you to have sparkles though, because I'm not.
You are sparkly. Are you kidding? You're the Miss
I
Oprah. You got to sparkle.
yes, I well, yes and no, but like I have a sparkling personality, but when it comes to my clothing wear,
Mhm.
I do need actually when I get to Oprah status, I'm going to need a stylist because
Me too.
if you were to see my wardrobe, it is basically jeans or capris, or I have some nice tops, but it's either t-shirts or sweaters, and that's sweatshirts. That's what I wear.
That is a good question. I think our friend, mutual friend Tracy Lynn, by the way, we were talking about this. There's two things that women fear, the questions they fear the most. What's for dinner? That's number one. The
Oh
second was
God.
what to wear. And I've been on this planet a long time, so I have decades of clothes and have no idea what to wear, which is kind of stupid when you think about it. I mean, I'm in a position of being a CEO, and I don't know what CEOs wear, wear suits or whatever. So my wardrobe is probably way boring than yours, but you're right. Together, we're going to get a really cool stylist, and we're going to get on the show because she's going to blow it out of the water.
Yeah, yes. And well, it's funny. I had a stylist all the way on the show once. His name was Joseph Rosenfeld, and actually, I'm
Mm.
gonna have to have him come back. But he is actually one of the top designers for lawyers in the Silicon Valley.
What?
So
There's okay.
yes,
There is a designer for Silicon lawyers. Oh my gosh.
seriously, apparently lawyers are because they have to represent their clients, right? And they have
Mhm.
high-end clients. So he is like his clientele is mostly lawyers. And I kind of felt hard. I'm like, seriously, Joseph, I don't believe that. And he goes, seriously, yes, because they and it depends on which case that they have on what they wear. And he
Really?
perfectly knows how to match it for which case and to present um, not only to the judge and the jury, but to everybody. And it was just fascinated me. And
Wow.
this guy's wardrobe, he took a snapshot of his wardrobe. Oh my gosh. Like this, I've never seen Joseph not in style. Like even when in casual, the man looks good. So
Oh wow. Well, what about
so
women though? Does he got the pink thing going on or no pink, you know?
no, he does pink too. I mean, his clientele. He has some women. This clientele actually. Oh my gosh, he's such a big heart. He was telling me about one of his favorite clients who, she. Anyway, you should go look at the session. Go to into my YouTube channel, which is Unstoppable Overcomers, and go look at it. Go look at that episode because he shares about this one client that she had very shy about her weight, and she had lost some weight, and then she got a new boyfriend, and he took her that story will just like we were all in tears. It
Oh,
was as absolutely phenomenal what this guy can do. So yeah, go check that story out.
I will definitely. Well, definitely DM me the name. I did meet a really great gal. I think her last name is Aberdeen. It's Joy Aberdeen. She's out of UK and she does a lot of capsule wardrobing, which is another thing too. You know, when you're
Wow.
in the business world, there's so many different things you have to do in a day. And it's not like the Devil Wears Prada where, you know, they have to wear their high heels all the time. But the whole point would be, what do you have that can transition into an evening event? Or for me, I work out after work. So for me, I got to make sure I got something in my bag that I can easily slip into, slip out of. But it's hard sometimes, especially when you're traveling too.
Hmm.
But
Absolutely.
I'll say here, Joy Aberdeen is her name. And she was a lawyer or accountant. No, she's a attorney and an accountant, but she's somebody who I'd love to see on the show. One of these
Perfect.
days when I can afford her, I'll definitely have to do it.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, we would love to have Joy on the show. Diverse. We have pretty much everybody here, which is so great. People really love that because it's
Oh,
not
yeah.
just the same topic, right? Although we do have our projects which are working with veterans. So there's been a few more veteran shows than civilian shows, but that's okay.
Well, that's okay. Well, you know that I have two sons in the Army, and
Yes.
so love talking about that. As a matter of fact, one is going into Ranger training. The other one is there. My kids are 11 years apart from each other. So, but the youngest one followed in his brother's footsteps. And again, they talk about it too. My oldest will probably be a general. I mean, I'm dead serious. He just got his master's in leadership. He wants to go into law and then eventually wants to be a general, which that's not everyone's goal and it's not every mom's dream for their kid to be a general. But I think some people who have the compassion for the legal side of it and the political side of it, yeah, God bless them. I couldn't do it myself.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And that's funny because we had a family member join the service. I can't believe his 5 years is up. Like it seems like
Wow.
only yesterday that he joined, and yeah, and so his 5 years is up, and he wants to reenlist. So I'm just like, okay, and I know my sister-in-law was like really like, oh my gosh, like she's happy for him, but in the same sense scared, right? So
Yeah.
I'm like, I've had tons of family members go through this as well. I said, I'm here for you, you know.
Well, I got to share something really interesting about that. My oldest one had his first deployment, which was a volunteer position, actually. He was already a leader. He already had 150 men under him. And as a ranger, he was offered an opportunity to do a deployment in Afghanistan in 2016, just shortly after he went to Fort McCord, which is in Seattle, Washington area. Anyway, when he came back, I didn't know what to expect, because they say deployments they're very difficult. They come back a little catatonic. He did his debriefing in Germany, but one of the first things we do as a family, we golf. That's one of our things. And it was very interesting. The first 2 holes were very quiet. And then by the 3rd hole, after swinging away and kind of being distracted, he opened up and he said, Mom, one thing I got to tell you, the first world problems are like, oh, my coffee wasn't done right, or somebody took my parking spot. He said, you have no idea what the world's dealing with. And he goes, I have more compassion. I really feel like it came back a lot better. But that's something, by the way, too, getting out there with other people, doing something, athletic, running, playing sports, doing something has always been my son's way of kind of decompressing from all that pressure. And so that's one of the things. Actually, I'll be golfing with him in a few weeks before he heads off to Europe again. So I'm excited.
Awesome. Love that. Yes. And you're the one that taught me about Fridays wearing red.
Yes. Oh, and yeah. So Fridays is RED. Remember every deployment. So we're red. So I have somewhere red on. Usually I have a jacket or something or other, a pin, and people who understand it will say, hi, I get it, So it's kind of a nice thing. And I also do push-ups. I know that sounds weird, but that's one of the things I do. I started off doing 22 push-ups, which represented 22 suicides of people from the military after whatever whatever was ever happened in their life. Anyways, but I'm up to 66 now, so that's my next one. So I was up to 44, and now I'm doing 66. And every day I do that, and I think about them. And for each one, I pray for someone. I don't know who they are, but it's become a real problem.
Yeah. Well, and it was 22 Veterans Day died by suicide. That's back when that's the stats back in January of last year. And then it went up to 44. I don't know what, I pray to God it's not at 66 now, but
no. But I tuck in prayers for other people around that one. But we've had a lot of unexplainable deaths in the last couple of years.
Yes, a lot. Yes, and it's I think everybody's dealing with the pandemic to their own way. I know here where I live, there was a lot of suicides during the pandemic, just people being cooped up. So I get it. Like that's not something that made national news, though. But
no, of
anyway,
course not. We can't talk about that, right? That's a taboo subject. But I think it's interesting. And I love the fact that your team members, I've talked to Greg and a few others who talked about mental wellness. And that's something else. Of course, that's kind of a Freudian slip, wellness. That's something I think it is, because you think about, we all have ups and downs in life. We have things that we go through, but to reach out and to open up is very important. And like I said, I have found that golf has been really great for that. When I was working on a board called A Warrior's Mind, it was for PTSD enlisted men. And the gentleman who headed that up said, we're all going golfing. And I said, okay, sure, sign me up. And he paired us up with different people who were going through something. And the young man they paired me up with, it's not like we even knew what the problems were. We just let them open up and just talk. And I became kind of a surrogate mom to him. And we wrote letters back and forth, emails and so forth. And it was helpful to have someone else just to share it with, they feel comfortable and confident. And of course, my son being an officer, I have a lot of different, not levels of like security, but I do understand the confidentiality, and I can't talk about most of the things that we share together. So this was a good place for this young man to do it. And we still talk once in a while. He's married now, got 2 kids. So, these are little tiny things where you go, yeah, there's solutions out there. We just got to figure out what they are and see what kind of programs are going to help people.
Yeah. Exactly. And whether you're deployed or whether you're in sports and just getting out, like we had talked about before, like that's important too, giving them the roadmap they need after, after they're done, something that they put their heart and soul in for decades. Right. So
that's awesome. Well, I always wonder if it's the same in the U.S. as it is in Canada, or Canada the same as U.S. As far as that goes. I think a lot of times just reaching out and really appreciating them. I know my sons get embarrassed when we're at the airport or something and they're wearing their uniforms, and someone will walk up and say thank you, or slip a Starbucks card in their hand or something, and they all kind of embarrassed, like, I just do my job. And I'm thinking, well, you know what? Let them do that, because we
Yeah.
need more people to step up and say thank you, and do the same thing for police officers. I was with a
Yes.
chief yesterday in a local area here that I knew from my hometown of Oak Brook, and he is now real close by. We sat down and talked about just the respect and teaching young people not to be afraid. They are your friends. There's somebody who wants to help you, but also the opportunity to open up doors of conversation when things are you're in trouble, having a place to go. And I think that's where everyone feels isolated for whatever reason. So
Yeah.
again, if you got issues, DM me. I'm a prayer partner, so let me know if you need something.
I love that. I love that. Yes. We're here to pray for you, whether you reach out to Angel or myself or Kimberly. Yeah, that's what it's all about. Giving giving God space to move.
Yes, absolutely. Well, it's interesting you think about. I'm friends with a gal, which I want you to look her name up. Her name is Kayla Bradham. She's kind of the one that kind of opened up several doors for me. There's not many of us women in media, sports media, and several of my favorites have left. Michelle Tafoya left last year. She felt a little like it was her time was up, and she wanted to do something different. And just heard her yesterday on a broadcast, and just, you know, when you're in here, sometimes adding the voice of being a woman, whether it's being a mom or a sister or a friend or whatever, or just common sense in a room,
Right.
it's nice to have that place and to know I can be a part of this. And if it's as a Christian woman or as a Christian leader, whatever that means, I'm here.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And it's funny because my husband has, well, I've told you, my husband lives, breathes, and dies sports. So
Mhm.
if it's not football season, it's hockey season in our house. And if it's not hockey season, then it's golf. Um, I'm okay till the basketball comes on. I'm really not a fan. Sorry, guys. And I'm sure I'm going to get hate mail for that. But
No, no,
anyways,
no, no.
well, you don't know. Anyways, he's got the sports desk on every night,
Oh, I love that.
and that old guy, I forget his name, I should, and there he's him and then his partner are just going back, like, yelling at each other, and it's like hilarious. And it's the one where you have like 2 minutes to talk about, like, I think there's 10 topics in sports, and they just rattle on down, and they can get
Oh, I love
heated.
those.
And then, of course he watches the pregame, the postgame, whatever. And I've seen more and more female anchors on there, like sports anchors on there, and I'm like, good for them. I'm like, seriously. So
Well, you're going to meet one of my new interns. Her name is Meredith Sims, and she is actually going to be in Phoenix because she's from Phoenix, but she's also going to a boarding school as a senior in high school in Connecticut. And then she's going to go on to doing basically sports broadcasting. But her emphasis is on faith. And so she interviewed me and put me on one of her podcasts, and she wrote a book recently. So she said, I'm sending you a copy because part of your story is in the book. And I'm like, oh, I'm excited. So I'm in a book. Which is, by the way, something else that we do at SportsFaith. We're going to be publishing books in the next couple of years that have to do with just unusual topics, positive opportunities to talk about overcoming, thinking about, how God moved in your life and where you're at. So that's kind of where we're at, and I'm looking forward to seeing people share their stories. So again, DM me or call me or email me, whatever.
right. And possibly in the works, we want to hear from you guys if you want a Housewives of NFL
Oh yes, absolutely.
show, because that's something that we're really kicking around here, thinking of doing that. And why not? Why should the men get all the limelight when their partners are at home, cheering them on and being their cheerleader and being who they need to be in order for them to be who they need to be? So I think that's a good idea.
Well, absolutely. It's funny you should say that. Yesterday, a gal by the name of Donna Marie Ward, her husband is I think he's the hitting coach for the Cardinals now. And she reached out. He was in professional baseball all their entire life. I mean, playing, and then now he's a pitching coach. But anyway, she's written a book, and she wants us to be able to put it out there, and I'll tell you more about that later. But she's another one who said, yeah, sign me up, as long as I'm uplifting and helping other people. I mean, there's
Wow.
plenty of dishy stuff out there, but we want to hear the good stories. We want to hear the
Yeah.
things where we can encourage them, and maybe even say hello to them once in a while, not just the people who are out in the field. Maybe sometimes they show the pictures in the stands, whatever. I always love that at the Super Bowl. They always show the pictures of the owners, and they always pick them when they're just kind of looking like deer in headlights or something. But they're real people too, and they're in the trenches just like the rest of us are in sports.
Absolutely. With a name like Ward, I don't hear that too often. My great-grandmother was a Ward. So
Oh, really?
perhaps we're related.
You never know. She's a doll. She's definitely a Southern gal. I love her accent. She's from Alabama, but they've been married 42 years or something like this. So they're, like one of the few out there that have a lot to share. And then she has a compelling story about how she was dealing with cancer. So, again, there's stories out there that we want to be able to share and talk about overcomers. She'd be a good guest on your show, by the way.
I was just thinking, I was like,
Absolutely.
yes, absolutely. Yes.
So,
We'd love to have her. Well, thank you so much, Angel. And thank you to our guests. And thank you for those of you that are going to be on the replay. We thank you and we bless you. And thank you, Angel, so much for being on the show tonight.
Thank you, Dorothy. It's always fun. That time went fast, didn't it?
I know. And you were so nervous at the beginning.
I've told this in a confession time. I'm not comfortable in front of camera, so you're helping me. I'm pushing myself over.
And you were a complete natural.
Oh. I'm a ham. How about that? Dorothy, I wish you all the best. You are definitely somebody who I so admire. I love your work. I love your podcasts, and thank you. Just keep it up until you are the next Oprah.
Yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And with that, guys, if you could go to our YouTube channel, Unstoppable Overcomers, subscribe, ring the bell so that when we go live Mondays and Wednesdays, and whenever I decide to do a quick 5-minute download from God, then it's all there. So you'll get that, and share it with all of your network. And that would be amazing. And so same time, same channel next week. And bye for now.